getting into Painted in Exile.
Yeah.
So this is back in August 2014. You joined this group. So how did that come about that you joined up with these guys?
Basically, what happened was Painted was a band that was coming up when I was like 15 in that other band in Long Island. And I'd heard of them. They were like very big in the Long Island scene. But I was young and I didn't really know them at all, but I just heard of them. When we got to Berkeley, and when I was 18, everyone at Berkeley just wanted to sound like Periphery. All the metal bands, everyone was just, and that's fine. And you know, that I love Periphery and the bands that I played in that like kind of were doing that thing for the time. Super cool. I love those guys. But it wasn't, I just didn't want to do that. And I saw these guys put in an ad that they were looking for a bass player. And I was like, oh, they're from Seaford, which is, you know, a town or two over from me.
Oh, wow.
And I sent them an audition. And then they sent me some new music and I sent back and then invited me for like a live one. And then, I got in and and so I met Alan and Ivan, who were the two guys who I started Geo with. Ivan is no longer in the project, but he's literally like my brother. I love him dearly. But Alan, so with that band, I did like my first real tour. We opened up for like Scar Symmetry. We played a few shows opening up for Intervals, which was cool, which is kind of how I got that gig, which I'll get into.
Wow.
But yeah, so that band, I went to the studio. That was like my first like real studio experience. Like we got recorded a record with Jamie King, who did like Colors, Between the Buried and Me, Language, by the Contortionist, all my favorite records.
Wow.
So it was
cool.
yeah. So it was like it was like, Baby's first band, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's how that started. And I would like take 2 weeks off of Berkeley, or like I was like just finishing.
Oh, you're still going to school? Oh.
Yeah. So I would tell my teacher, hey, can you just email me the work and I'll do it from the van? And
I got to be a rock star, so homework can wait.
Yeah, I got to go play Rudy's and
Pat's Grass Shack.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But so we did that. We did a couple tours. We did a bunch of shows, and it was amazing. It was so cool. I wrote a record with them.
Wow.
And
so you weren't with them very long, though, were you?
No. I mean, not really. The band's kind of fizzled out. We're all doing our own things now. But from 2014, right? 2014 to
August
like,
2014, because I saw on
I forgot that video is out.
Yeah, there's a video up there where they're announcing your
I remember that now. It was like one of the happiest days of my life.
They were pretty stoked about it too.
Yeah,
it looked like, they're like, check out, we got our new bass player.
Yeah, everyone's like, oh boy, a bass player. Yeah. But
until they hear you. And then oh, man.
But I think so we did the thing, and I think in 2017 things started to kind of like fizzle out. But when we did a tour with Scar Symmetry, and some of the guys in Painted in Exile knew Aaron from Intervals.
Okay.
So when we played in Toronto, we went to this guy's apartment that we're all friends with, I guess, and Aaron was there, and we had like tacos or whatever. Yeah. And then we walked to the venue, and Aaron watched us play, and he said, "Hey, that was sick. We have a couple routing shows. Me, Plini, and Plini are doing these routing shows that are taking us to the Animals as Leaders tour. Wow. Would you guys want to open for those 3 shows?"
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and our singer couldn't do it, but we did the 3 shows instrumental, and like after the first show, or before, or maybe even before our set, Aaron came up to me and was like, "Hey, this is not like the Intervals lineup. Like this Plintervals thing where they were doing this thing where Aaron and Plini shared the same band."
Oh, so, wow.
Yeah, it was really cool. But Aaron said, "Hey, I have a new record coming out. Blah blah blah. This is not my actual band. Like, I might hit you up to play bass if you're interested." And I was like, "Yeah, I just have to finish school, but that's like in 2 months. But I'm absolutely down."
So Aaron, so they Intervals didn't have a resident bass player?
Intervals is just Aaron, and Plini is just Plini in the sense that it's, you know, but
that's
now,
interesting.
right? But now Intervals is me, Nathan, Trav.
Band.
Like, it's a band. And same
Yeah.
thing with Plini. Like it's Simo,
Right.
Chris and Jake. But yeah, so this was 2016, I think, and or 2017 maybe. And
The internet says 2017, Jacob. Just so
there,
you know.
thank you very much. But yeah, so I got to school and I got back to school and I like posted on Instagram at the time. You can only do like 15 seconds, so I posted like a 15-second clip of me playing an interval song, just to for me to be like, so I know Aaron would see it and he'd be like, just to for me to like, hey, remember that thing you asked me a little while ago?
Yeah, I can do the job, Aaron.
Yeah. So like a month after that tour, he messaged me, and I remember it because he just messaged me like Doggy, like DAWGGGY. And I was like, what's up, man? And he said, we have a Canadian headliner over the summer. Would you be down to do it?
Wow.
And I said yes. And he's like, I know you can play, but I need you to just do like one audition song. So that day I just recorded a cover, and I sent it to him, and he's like, okay, you're done, you're good.
Wow.
So yeah, did the first tour, and
I was wondering how a guy from New York ended up in a Canadian group.
Yeah, I know, just a bunch of yeah, it's awesome. But that happened, and then after one of our shows, our sound guy came up to me. He's like, "Hey, no one's gonna tell you straight up, but like if you want this gig, it's yours."
Wow.
So that was really nice, and that's how I joined Intervals, and it's just been. And when I joined the band, I kind of knew it was like Aaron's thing,
Yeah,
you know,
right.
as much as it's you know, live and on the records now, it's me, Nate, and Aaron.
Yeah.
But when I joined, I kind of had this feeling like, all right, this is going to be my thing.
Yeah.
But I also want to try to be able to just be myself in terms of like people knowing me as a bass player.
Yeah.
And which is cool, you know, because that now we have like the Umansky bass thing, and like I do all these records for people. So, but
you're
like
carving away your own name, even within the context of intervals. So would you say that for intervals, Aaron wrote most of the material?
Aaron writes everything for intervals.
All of it. Okay.
So yeah. So what's cool is that he's you know, absurdly talented. It's annoying. He's awesome. He just like blows these riffs out, and I'm like, this is so sick.
Yeah.
And so he'll just put these, you know, send us these songs, and he's really good at writing bass too, which is awesome.
Wow.
But he'll let me do my thing. So there'll be sections that are just progressions with no bass under them, just root notes.
Oh.
And I'll just
go to town with it.
Yeah. So we'll have these FaceTime sessions, but like on the new, like Circadian was cool. That was my first record I did with the band. But we did it, you know, during COVID, and I couldn't really, I wouldn't say I held back, but it was like, the engineer I worked with only was able to work with me after 5. And then they were in the studio from like, you know, 9 to 5. So it was tricky to, you know, and they were in Canada, I was in, you know, so it was, I was just very careful being like, okay, this is whatever this is probably going to be the final thing, you know?
Yeah.
So this next record we did, which is coming out soonish, we all did in the same room at Sweetwater. The songs were written and demoed out before, but we were able to do everything in the same room. And you know, I just, you know, in the demos, I threw a bunch of stuff at the wall and see what stuck. And it all stuck. This record is like crazy on bass. But
oh my gosh.
So Aaron is the, you know, he's the steers the ship. He's the guy who writes everything. But in terms of like the bass lines and how far he lets me go, it's like the sky's the limit, which is awesome. Which is so it's really cool. I really like that, especially since I have Gia as my
right.
You know, and I'd love to see that grow, and that's kind of the plan. You know, we're just starting out, but it's the dynamic we have where it's like I get sent the sickest shit in the world, and then I get to play, and then I get to play on it and do my thing on it. It's a really cool dynamic, and the fact that, you know, it's even on stage, we look like a band. You know, it's not like it's not like solo guitar
Exactly.
with backing people.
Yeah, that's what I got when I saw you guys at NAMM. I don't remember
Mhm.
what year it was, but you're in this little booth in the back.
Yeah, the Groove
And
Gear.
interesting to me is that I was, filming you guys with my phone. I was right in front of Aaron. I made sure to get a really good spot. So I was right in front
Yeah.
of Aaron.
Hmm.
I was filming him. And then I found myself doing this. I'm filming Aaron and I'm watching you. And I'm like, oh, holy shit. Jeez. And I'm like, oh yeah, let me point my phone over there. Yeah, because what you were doing, a lot of it was, matching what Aaron was doing, but I mean, you're
Yeah.
doing it on a bass, and I'm like, oh my gosh. But your facility over the instrument was breathtaking because I was just like, oh my God, these lines are very technical,
Mhm.
and sometimes rhythmically complicated too, not just the pitches that you're playing all over the
Sure.
place, but the rhythms and stuff are very complicated. And you had this big smile on your face the whole time you're playing, dude, because that's your your mode when you
My
play.
yeah, dude, my whole thing is I'm just happy to be here.
You
That's
you're
my
just
whole attitude is
Oh
that.
man, you're just smiling away, and I'm like, I'd be biting my cheek trying to play that lick right now, but it was nothing. It was nothing for you, and I was like, oh my God. So truth be told, I mean, as much as I love Aaron's playing, you're the one that stood out to me when I
Thank
saw
you.
you play.
That's
'Cause,
awesome.
I was just amazed by what you were doing. Um, but I was going to say that, I think probably at this point for Aaron, he trusts you because now he
Yeah.
knows, who he's playing with. And also it
Hmm.
probably relieves some burden on him to have to write every single section, every single note.
Yeah, I think he likes that. Like he's so meticulous.
Hmm.
But I will say he's way more meticulous with drums. He's a drummer too. Um,
Oh, really?
so a lot of Nate, our drummer who drums on the records, is again stone cold killer. And he definitely adds his variations and
Yeah. Yeah,
will
yeah.
will
His
change things and
personality. Yeah.
yeah. But I think the drums are definitely stay a lot closer to the demos than the bass. Um,
Interesting.
but it's awesome because with Aaron and Nate, like everyone, I always get the question like, how do you write all these,
Yeah.
crazy fills and how
Yeah.
do you do this? I literally just follow the drums and then just try to put pitch to it on the
Pitches
bass
to it.
and then yeah,
Oh,
yeah, that's literally all it is. They
wow.
give me, and again, like with interval stuff, I'm lucky. I'm throwing all this incredible
Yeah.
music I get to work around.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I think at this point, it's really cool that Aaron trusts me to do the
Hmm.
stuff that I do because again on this new record, he'll FaceTime me when we were writing it, and he would just be like, "Hey, see the guitar riff here? See there's space? Can you like thump in between the space?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Can you? Yeah, but also I need you." I'm like, "No, I know what I need to do. I get it." And um,
That's great.
and there's like another part where we have this other song that's there's just like a little bass solo, but it wasn't going to be a bass solo. It was just I heard space. I'm like, I want this to be a bass solo. So yeah, so
That's
I
great.
I tracked it really quickly, and it was not gonna initially. He's like, oh, I might do something there. We'll see in the studio, and I was like, okay. And we got in the studio, and
Oh,
our
no, you're
engineer was
not.
no, it was cool. He was super into it. He was
Wow.
super into it. So
Wow.
yeah, it's definitely a really cool dynamic in like in and out of the studio, and this tour that's starting in like a few weeks.
Yeah.
We're playing a bunch of music that we've never done before.
Wow.
And it'll be really, and again, it's like this first time where we've written and recorded most of it and kind of even composed some of the stuff like in
Wow.
the studio together. So
Yeah.
being able to like, see that from the inception of all being in the same room
Mhm.
and putting the whole thing together from, from top to bottom and then
Wow.
trying to replicate it live. I think it's going to be really, really special.
That's gonna be exciting. What's your first stop?
Indiana, I think.
Oh, wow. And how
Yeah,
long are you gonna be out on the road?
I think from the 8th of March to April 13th. So it's not too
Oh, okay.
not too
It's a
long.
short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not too long. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where are you located?
LA,
Oh, no,
Los
dude, come to the,
Angeles.
we're playing, I think Echoplex.
Oh, you guys, oh, please let me know. I'd love to come
Dude,
out and say
yeah,
hi, man.
Echoplex. Yeah, let me see the date.
Yeah,
Real
I'll
quick.
definitely be there.
Yeah. Um, we're playing Echoplex. I will find it and email it to you. Yeah,
Yeah, please
yeah,
do. Please do. That'd be great.
yeah, dude, come out. Absolutely.
Oh man, that'd be awesome.
Yeah,
So, dude, I want to talk to you about your endorsement. So,
yeah.
your beautiful Dingwall that I see all over the place. So I gotta know, like, I know the list has got to be long about why you love this bass, but what is some of the highlights for you with and is that do you have a signature bass with it?
So I'll show you. So this is the first custom bass they built me. This is just a standard Z3.
Hmm.
Um, and um, anyone could bought this bass. The only thing that's like custom about it is the finish that we kind of came up with.
Oh.
So this is the first one. And then so this is the prototype for my signature model, which is it's
Oh.
very similar.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
it looks pretty similar to the other
yeah,
one.
but yeah, there's some subtle differences. But the things that drew me to the instrument to begin with, honestly, the neck was a huge thing.
Mm.
I just really like a wide, flat, oh my God, zoom.
I was wondering where that's coming from.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I really like the neck kind of drew me in, and obviously the tone was a big thing for me. But with the Dingwalls, it was interesting because everyone was doing this. The main Dingwall sound that people know
Yeah.
is these two, which is the rear two in humbucker mode,
Oh.
which is kind of what I was doing at first, but it wasn't really exactly what I wanted in terms of like the slapping stuff. It was a bit too
Gainy?
um
Is that a gainy sound or
no, I mean it's kind of sounds like a Music Man, like a Stingray
oh,
kind of sound.
okay. Yeah.
And but for the slap stuff, it was just a little too pingy, a little too nasally.
Okay.
And and I and this was before I had this bass. I was playing
Hmm.
an NG, and I went to a music store that my friend's dad owns in no, in Winnipeg, and I played like a '90s Dingwall, like one that like was an early one, and
Oh.
it didn't have the three pickups; it just had the two,
Hmm.
and it had this insane modern J bass sound, and I was slapping on it, and I was just doing
Oh,
and I was like, okay, that's exactly the thing I need.
that. Oh,
So,
yeah.
and then we did, and I didn't know that, I didn't know why it sounded that way.
Yeah.
I just picked it up and I played it, and it also had the FDV pickups in it, which I also, I think they were FDVs, but either way. And then we went to China, and we went to a music shop, and this guy recognized us from being in intervals, and he's like, "Hey, come up! Like, I got to show you the bass section." And he showed me his Z3, which is that model, and the neck was, I loved it. The body on this one, it has a little bit more of a it's a little
Contour.
rounder.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
so it's just
yeah.
nicer to do that.
But
And
yeah.
that's just, little things, and so I just fell in love with the bass. And
Is there a belly contour on the back of that?
yep. Yep.
Oh, beautiful. Wow.
Yeah, it's out of control.
Wow.
So I went to NAMM, and this is my second NAMM after meeting Dingwall, and I was, I started doing the Darkglass thing during the year prior and doing videos, so people, I was able to, do something for the company, right?
Mhm,
Because I'm
mhm.
not going to ask for something if I can't give you something in return.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I asked them, I was like, hey, what do I need to do to get one of these bases? Like, and they just said, just email us, which was crazy.
Wow.
So yeah, so we had a
Jeez.
dialogue about it. It took me
Wow.
6 months to kind of figure out what I wanted to do with the finish. So yeah, this is the product of me thinking, because that bass is upwards of 6-7 grand, which
Wow.
yeah, as a, I couldn't afford that as a player,
Wow. Oh
so,
my gosh.
and they make the NGs and the combustions, which are, a bit cheaper.
Yeah.
They're not cheap, but they're, import
Yeah.
model. So the idea was to make
Yeah, those are only 3,000, right?
right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a little under. But the idea was to make one a Z that was a bit more accessible because I was just thinking I, I want more people to be able to experience this. It's such an amazing instrument. So that was the whole thing that sparked it. Was I went up to Sheldon and I said, "Hey, would you be like?" Because we put out that bass and people loved the finish. Like, oh my god, is this Jacob's signature? And it wasn't. But I saw Sheldon was doing a live stream. He's like, "Wouldn't it be cool if we did a Jacob bass?" And I was like, "Oh my god, yes, it would." I was just watching it from my laptop, being like, "Yeah, that'd be sick."
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, so we did a couple of things to the body. We added these bevels. There's a couple of things that I mean, it's nothing too crazy. There's some other stuff coming on the final prototype that we've changed, but we just made the body a little sleeker, if that's even possible. But we made the body sleeker. We added a different bridge.
That's a monster bridge.
Yeah, I love it. Like, I love the monorail one, but I like this one because it just like it's matte and it kind of just looks like a pickup. It's really minimalist and cool. And brand new neck shape, so slightly modified neck.
Were you playing with the fan frets on your previous bass too? Before you started playing with the Dingwall?
No,
basses?
no.
So you like the fan
very
frets?
Far from. Love them.
Okay.
Love it. And we changed. So on my every other Dingwall bass has the volume knob configuration. It's like these three, and then the other two are it's kind of just the smile, right? So these aren't here. But what was happening was like I'd be doing my thing like, and I would just be mashing the master volume.
Oh no!
Yeah, and again, it's just that's how I play.
That's for you, for you specifically. That's the problem.
And I talked to some other players that do similar things, and they ran into that issue too. So I carefully was like, "Hey, can we
drill in a different place on that?"
And they were so cool about it. We put in this new configuration. So we have preamp, active, passive, volume, and then rotary selector in the back.
Oh wow!
And
wow.
Yeah. So the only other thing that's really, and we changed the woods. And I'll go up. I don't want to release too much about it, but this bass I've been playing this prototype for a year now, so people have seen it.
Yeah. Now the wood design. See the wood design. That's a Jacob Umansky signature bass. That wood design is you. I mean,
So that was the thing. It was like, it wasn't even that that people were curious about the bass. Just so many people liked the finish. And then so when we wanted to do this, I kind of just pitched some of the ideas I had to change the bass, and a lot of the design or the tiny mods we made to the body, like again, like adding these bevels, bringing in the waist. Yeah, it was just so we can see more of the back of the bass, the black, And so
great idea.
So and wow. Again, so and you'll notice on the other bass, it has a matching headstock, right? But the neck, we're trying to we made this one a little more cost effective, so it doesn't have a tilt back neck. So you can't do the matching grain, which was kind of like a devastating blow to me at first, and because they had told me that, and I was like, oh man, that sucks. Like I really wanted it was gonna look like my bass. Wow. And then they sent me the CAD design for this one. Yeah. And with the black headstock, I'm like, oh my god, that's so much freaking cooler. And then we added like the gold writing at the top.
That's sexy, man.
Right. So, and then I thought, well, it is really cool, like to have the top of the bass match all the accents rather than it just matching. So now, we're putting out two other colors that I can't say right now, but one of them is going to be like a solid one, so more traditional, and the other one's going to be like this.
Wow.
So it'll be really, really, really cool.
What do you have on the tuning pegs? What's up at the tuning pegs?
This is just like a ribbon, my friend. It's a good luck thing, but
okay.
No, but this is a detuner.
Oh, okay. So, that's what I thought.
Okay,
that you had a detuner to.
Okay, yeah. I gotta like tuck this back, but So.
Wow.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love it. It's the best. It's the best invention since sliced bread.
Is that a whole step?
Yeah. It'll go from B to A.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Because you
Yeah.
can't, because you're not low enough.
No, dude. Yeah, it's basically yeah, it's just drop D on steroids.
You know, put piano strings on that thing, throw a couple more strings down on it.
Dude,
And,
yeah, on the other white one I have it set up in drop I don't even want to tell you what I have it set up to, but I have it set up to drop F sharp.
oh my God.
Yeah, I have
Wow.
insane friends that write insane music that need yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Holy
Yeah.
smokes. So
But
so
yeah.
you were working with Darkglass before your involvement with Dingwall?
Yeah, so I had been playing these other basses. This is my first like other bass. It's kind of way different than the Dingwall.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's from Eleuthera in Long Island. But so those were the basses I was
Wow.
playing before Dingwall. And when I got into intervals, I needed I didn't have like I had some gear, but I didn't have, to go out and do a whole professional run. So Aaron introduced me to who is now like a great friend of mine, the old artist rep of Darkglass, and I emailed him and I said, hey, I play with this band Intervals now. I'm looking for an amp. And then he's like, hey, we can give you an amp for this. And so they gave me my first amp, which is
Wow.
awesome. And and then by the end of that tour, Aaron was telling me that he wanted to play some of the older songs that were tuned lower, and that was the tour that I first played that older Dingwall. And the bass player of the headliner, North Lane, he was playing a Dingwall. So I played his, and I was like trying to like, cause those basses that I was playing, they're really nice and I love them, but I was trying to tell myself, no, the Dingwalls aren't better. They're not better.
Yeah. Trying to stay loyal.
Yeah. But they were. So I emailed, so my guitar player, Sam from Intervals, who is also now the guitar player of Gia, his dad was friends with Sheldon, and I got Sheldon's email. It's like, hey, Sheldon, my name's Jacob Umansky. I'm friends. I play in Intervals. I'm friends of whoever. We're playing this new music that needs, that I think would lend itself to a Dingwall. I'd love to try one. So I got a message back from my Darkglass artist rep being like, hey, Jacob, nice to hear from you again. And he's also the Dark rep from Dingwall. So they sent me this bass and I start doing videos for it. And then I get to my first NAMM, and Dingwall put out a 6-string version. And I was like, okay, I want to be a full Dingwall guy. And that whole experience went so well with Dingwall. Like, I got to the booth, Sheldon knew who I was, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And he like took a selfie with me, and like he asked me to demo some basses for like an interview he was doing. It was so cool. Like it was the best first NAMM. So they sent me this first NG prototype bass, and they're like, you need to give it back after the tour. And I'm like, fuck that, I'm not giving it back.
Gotta give it back. What is this shit?
No. So what happened was I had like one of these Darkglass pedals that I had bought. It was my dad bought it for me when I was in college.
Yeah.
And,
they're great pedals too, man.
they're the best. They're the best company, the best guys.
Yeah,
and
they're great.
I got back from tour and I just started making these, decently quality cell phone videos of me just playing.
Yeah.
And one of them took off, and I messaged the CEO at the time of Darkglass, Doug, and I said, hey, I've been going through Lauren. I've never met you, but I just wanted to say I've been using your products for the longest time, and I appreciate you guys, what you guys have been doing for me. This is what I do.
Yeah.
And I sent him that video, and he's like, wow, man, this is great. What if we just send you our pedals and you just do this? And I was like, okay.
To keep?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just gonna give you pedals and then you just make a couple videos for us.
Yeah. And
let me think. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So that was like my first, like Dingwall had sent me basses, but there was no it was I was endorsed by them, but it was like a handshake at the time, not like we hadn't signed anything yet.
Yeah.
But with Darkglass, they were just like, yeah, we're just gonna send you this pedal. Can you just do what you just did with your other and I was your other video? And I said, absolutely. And so I did another cell phone video and it did fine. And I sent it to them again and they posted it and it did fine. And then they messaged me again and they're like, hey, what if we give you a budget to hire a videographer, do all this other stuff.
That's
and so
great.
Yeah, it was amazing. And so then
the quality shot through the roof, and now you're
and my
doing
following
legit.
went up.
Yeah.
My following went up, and Dingwall saw that.
Gosh.
And then my artist rep from both companies was like, hey, just hang on to the bass, which was awesome.
Oh,
Yeah, which was really cool. So that's
so cool.
yeah, and then the Darkglass relationship, you know, I use their stuff live now, but differently. I use their cabinets, I use their head for power, but my main rig is a fractal now.
Oh,
But those guys are the best. I use the preamp in my bass. I vouch for them. They're so cool. They send me anytime they put out something new, they just send it to me and I make a demo, and then it, you know, it goes on my wall because it's like a little trophy. But you know,
how do you like the fractal? I got an AX8. I love fractal stuff.
Yeah,
man.
dude, it's so good.
It's unbelievable. They're so